Hello everybody, welcome back to Screen Stars. I'm here today to bring you my review for the 2020 comedy film Eurovision Song Contest, The Story of Fire Saga. Now this is a film that is directed by David Dobkin and it's written by Will Ferrell, produced by Will Ferrell and starring Will Ferrell, Rachel McAdams, Dan Stevens and Pierce Brosnan. Now, this is a film that tells the story of Will Ferrell's character and Rachel McAdams' character, who are two people. You see at the beginning of the film, they fall in love with the Eurovision Song Contest through ABBA. And they grow up loving music, singing music together, creating music together, and they've got a dream of entering and winning the Eurovision Song Contest. And they live in Iceland. Pierce Brosnan is Will Ferrell's father. He's not too keen on this idea and he just wants his son to grow up. However, after a strange turn of events, a song that they enter into the Eurovision Song Contest gets accepted. And they are allowed to enter the preliminary stages to try and get through to Eurovision. They then end up, by a twist of fate, getting to the Eurovision Song Contest, and the fun continues from there. That's the basic premise here of this film, Eurovision Song Contest, The Story of Fire Saga. What are my thoughts on this film? Well, I'm a fan of Will Ferrell. I think this last 5 years or so is some of his films have been a bit up and down for me. I've not enjoyed all of them. Sherlock Holmes, shall we say, was appalling, but he is, I think, with the right material, a brilliant comedy actor, and this film almost works, almost nails it. The idea is stupid in its concept. It's a bit like, you know, when he does his sports movies, Will Ferrell, the Blades of Glory and the basketball one he did, you know, it's just madness. Everything's dialed up to 11 in those sorts of films, and they're wacky and crazy and zany, and that's what we get here. It's at times an awful lot of fun to watch this film, I'm not going to lie, and it is Will Ferrell at times at his brilliant best, and him and Rachel McAdams got great chemistry and they work really well together, and there's some good material in this film. Pierce Brosnan's a joy. Dan Stevens, though, I think is woefully miscast as this really camp Russian singer in the Eurovision Song Contest. Didn't suit him at all, this character, and there are times, I'm not going to lie, when you watch this film, some of the songs in it are actually quite catchy and fun and give you a couple of goosebump moments here and there, and it's a really, really good feel-good movie now and again. Now, saying all that, I think there are problems with this film too, quite a few problems with it. It's too long. It's about 2 hours, which is too long for a comedy, way too long. There's too much setup, and the stages of getting through the Eurovision needed filtering down. You have the preliminary stage, which was fine, then you've got the semi-final stage, and then you've got the act itself, you know, Eurovision Song Contest finals. So you've got these 3 stages, and I think they could have trimmed that down a little bit, and at times it's cringy, simply put. It's a bit cringy, and a little bit, I'm not really sure what the right word is, face palming now and again. It's a little bit stupid too. Now, my understanding is that Will Ferrell's affection for the Eurovision Song Contest is very, very real. Apparently he fell in love with it in 1999. I think his wife's Swedish or something like that, and she introduced him to the contest and has been following it ever since. He's been to the Eurovision contest a couple of times, and this film was to come out this year to celebrate something like the 65th anniversary of the contest. However, it's been obviously postponed this year, the Eurovision Song Contest, because of COVID. But they've released the film anyway, so it's done from his perspective with real affection. And and there are some really uplifting, fun moments in this film. But it can't be helped that it is a bit cringy at times, and there's some scenes that they didn't need. They could have trimmed this. I think if they'd have trimmed this down to 90 minutes, it'd have made it sharper, and just kept some of the best gags. I think it could have really worked. It could have sparked off the screen now and again. As it happens, you're left with some dull moments and some flat gags that just don't work, some of them. And it's a little bit too safe too. Sometimes Will Ferrell, he can be way over the top with his gags and a little bit on the edge of comedy, and it all feels a little bit safe, the comedy in this film. I know it's a Netflix film and everything, but I think it needed to be a little bit edgier maybe here and there. So there are things wrong with this film. However, I did have fun with it and I did enjoy my time watching this film, and it almost falls into the category of a really great Will Ferrell film. Unfortunately, it's under the category of could have been better. But there are some good moments in it. It's great. Some of the acts in the Eurovision are really good and really fun, and it pokes fun at the contest. Obviously, I don't know if you're from America, you might not know much about this contest, but in the UK and Europe, we know very much about the Eurovision Song Contest. I mean, it's a pile of old crap, really. It has been for decades. But it has got this, renowned reputation. And for some countries in Europe, it's probably a huge honour to win the Eurovision Song Contest. In the UK, not really. It hasn't been for a while. So yeah, it's something worth checking out. It's a little bit different. If you're fancying a bit of a chuckle and a giggle, and especially if you like the Eurovision Song Contest, it's definitely worth putting on and checking out. I'll give it a 7 out of 10, certainly. It's not bad. It's not a terrible film. I've seen some pretty cruel reviews on this film. From my perspective, it's okay. I've seen far worse Will Ferrell films. My God. If you think this is bad, don't ever watch Sherlock Holmes. My goodness, that one will shock you how bad it is. Yeah, so that's my review for Eurovision Song Contest, The Story of Fire Saga. Great title. So thanks for watching, everybody. I will of course be back with more content on Screen Stars very soon.